club. We want to be in the 700 club because that has traditionally been good credit. When you hit 700, that was considered good credit. Now at 670, you're considered to have good credit with this particular model from FICO. So let's move on. That is very, very telling and very good for each and every one of us, especially if you think about the changes that have come with the credit scoring system lately. I talked about them a few shows back about the positive changes that have come about, how you can raise your credit score 20 or maybe even 40 points by doing absolutely nothing. If you missed that show, go back and listen to that show. Of course, it's always available to you. iTunes, Stitcher, all those places, Google Play, all those places. So go back and listen to that. So 670 to 739 is now considered good. Here's another one. From 740 to 799, now your credit is considered very good. Now before, you had to get a 750 and above to have excellent credit, right? 750 and above was excellent. Now if you sit between 740 and 799, it's considered very good. Now that's a difference, and that's a change to the model that they've traditionally been working off of. And now 800 to 850, the highest you can go, is considered exceptional. So previously we had bad credit, poor credit, fair credit, and good credit and excellent credit as the 5 different categories. Vantage said our categories are going to be very poor, fair, good, and excellent. FICO, and the reason FICO is important to know about FICO is because 95% of lenders use FICO. They use that scoring model. It's the model to use. So that's the one that they use. If you're ever getting a score and you want to know exactly where you are, that's the score that you want to get. So FICO, 95% of the lenders are using this one. And so when they make this change, it's going to be significant and it'll affect the entire industry. So now FICO says you got very poor, you got fair, you've got good, very good, and you have exceptional. So if you're from 800 to 850, you are exceptional when it comes to your credit score. Now my credit score happens to be 820 today. So I guess I'm exceptional when it comes to my credit score. So all right, so you got that now. So you got the traditional model. You've got Vantage now, and then you have the new model or the new consideration when it comes to FICO. After the question of the day, we're going to explore that a little bit more, and I'm going to tell you what the difference is and how it makes a difference for you and for all of your people. All right, so let's get to the question of the day. And of course, right before I do, I got to give out a couple more shouts. If you're new to the show at all, I get shout outs. Contact me at 800creditscoreman@gmail.com if you have something you want to shout out. If you got an anniversary, a birthday, whatever it is, give me a ring there, 800creditscoreman@gmail.com, and you may become a part of the show by me shouting you out. So I want to shout out some people that had birthdays and have birthdays that are coming up. So Tina Gardner, birthday is today, April the 8th as well. She shares a birthday. Cleo Harbison, happy birthday to you. Also, birthday is today, so I want to make sure I said that to you guys. And then Rodney Cody. Rodney Cody's birthday, April the 9th, so his birthday is tomorrow. So I want to make sure I gave that birthday shout out to you. All right, so let's get to the question of the day, everybody. Question of the day is brought to you by none other than Cute as a Cupcake, the Cupcakery and Bake Shop, where the cupcakes are more than just cute, they're delicious. Cute as a Cupcake is located in Merrillville, Indiana, 2008 West 81st. Again, that's 2008 West 81st in Merrillville, Indiana. Cute as a Cupcake. Get by there and tell them that the 800 Credit Score Man sent you. All right, so our question of the day. So, Nikki from Missouri hit me up on Facebook, actually, and she actually sent me a picture of something someone posted on Facebook. Now, this isn't necessarily the first time I've heard of this or seen this, but I want to thank Nikki for bringing this to my attention, and it actually came up a couple of times during the week, so this is why I picked this as the question of the day. So basically, let me set the scenario for you. This post says to individuals, don't pay them a dime. It's like the subject of the post. And the post is really talking about if you had an original creditor and your account was charged off. If it was charged off, then that particular company has taken the money that you owed them. Say you owe them $750. They've taken the money that you owed them and they've charged it off. They've charged it off. It's now a bad debt. It's considered a bad debt for them. They've placed it on their taxes, and so they've had that. They've basically been, I guess, reimbursed, if you will, on this particular debt for that happens to be for you. So this person is saying that you shouldn't pay them. You shouldn't have to pay them because that account is charged off. Now, typically when an account gets charged off, when we're talking about a credit card or maybe even a personal loan, and it gets charged off, then oftentimes a collection agency will come along and come to your original creditor and say, hey, we'll pay you pennies on a dollar for this particular account, and then now we quote unquote own the account and we'll collect on the account. So that's typically what happens. Talked about collections seems like 100,000 times on this show. So go back and listen to one of the shows about collections if you want to know how this whole thing goes down. But particularly with charge-offs in this particular question, the person is trying to say that since they charged it off, and since the company charged it off, and they basically, quote unquote, got their money back because they wrote it off on their taxes, then you shouldn't owe anything at all. And you just have to write a letter and saying, hey, my contract was canceled. Write the letter to your credit bureau and say the contract was canceled. And since there was no contract, then I don't owe this. So Nikki asks basically, is this true? All right, so let me tell you what I told Nikki. I said to her, sorta. It's sorta true. It's almost a true statement. It's almost correct. But here's where the issue lies. All right, so yes, technically, the account has been charged off and, they've done their thing with the IRS. That's pretty much none of your business. That's the way the business works. That's the way they're allowed to, be recompensed, I guess, if you will, for, you not paying them. That typically that has nothing to do with you in the end of the day. And when you look at the Federal Credit Reporting Act or even the Act on Collections, that typically has no bearing on you. So you can go, and your account is sent over to a collection agency. That agency go ahead and they can collect on you, and it's up to you if you're going to pay them. Now, technically, you can file a dispute and say, I don't know who this is. If you go back and listen to last week's show, I did a whole show on 609 letters and talked exactly about this particular situation. So you go back and listen to last week's show. And so technically, right, you're right, technically. You don't have to pay them a dime if you don't want to pay them a dime. But it still will be on your credit report, and there's nothing that you can do necessarily to get it off your credit report. Now, you can file a dispute. It'll probably come back that, yes, this debt was yours. We did verify it, and you can write no contract on it. Every once in a while, this actually works. Every once in a while, it will work for you to file a dispute. Doesn't mean you shouldn't dispute them. I believe almost in disputing everything. So go ahead and dispute it. Maybe it'll come off. Maybe it won't come off. Maybe they won't have the documentation that they need to prove that this is your particular account. So you're better off by go ahead and challenging it and disputing it through the credit bureaus if not doing anything besides doing anything or not doing anything at all about this. You're better off by doing it that way, if you will. So technically, this particular post is correct. It's not yours, but, there's always a but. It'll probably stay on your credit report for the most part. Charge-offs happen all the time. And just because the original company charged it off and they got their tax break or whatever it was, however you want to put it, for them does not mean that you don't owe this particular debt. So you may be able to get it removed from your credit report. You may not be able to get it removed from your credit report. So it really depends on how you work it. But I would suggest to Nikki and anyone that comes into this particular situation that you take a look at the account, take a look at who's collecting on you, and you always go to see if you can give them pennies on a dollar to get rid of this debt for you and have it removed from your credit report. If that doesn't work, then of course you can always send a 609 letter to these individuals and you can challenge them on that fact and have them send you actual documentation with your signature originals to the credit bureaus to make sure that this is actually yours. If it's not, then you do a good job. You do a good job and you have a better chance of, not having that on your credit report. All right, so thanks a lot, Nikki from Missouri. I appreciate you for contacting me. You are officially a part of the 800 Credit Score Man show. And welcome to the family. So welcome to the family, Nikki. Thank you so much. All right, so let's move on from this. Again, the question of the day was brought to you by Cute as a Cupcake, the Cupcakery and Bake Shop in Maryville, Indiana, 2008 West 81st. Please get by Cute as a Cupcake and tell them that the 800 Credit Score Man sent you. All right, before I go on, I have got to shout out these two ladies in particular. I've got to shout them out. Kiara Brady, she is celebrating her birthday on April the 11th. Happy early birthday to you. This person happens to share my birthday. Hazel Bacon, I want to shout you out. Happy birthday. Share my birthday, April the 12th, coming up this Wednesday. So happy birthday to you. Big shout out to you. And then I've got to shout out also Beth Neubauer. She also shares my birthday. I got to shout her out. She won't be Neubauer for long. She is getting married later on this summer. So congratulations to you and happy birthday as well. All right, so let's move on. I told you guys, because we're coming to the end of the show, and I've talked way too long. So check this out. I told you guys that we were going to explore the differences with the FICO and how that breaks down for you. Here's what I want to say in a nutshell is this. Even though this particular FICO pie chart says that now you're very good from 740 to 799, and then you're exceptional from 8 to 850, until a bank or a lender of some sort says that you won't get the same amount of interest rate, you won't get the same interest rate as somebody else until you hit 800 or something like that, you still get that. Other lending institutions have done very well by having the policy or saying that if you're at 750 and above, you're going to get the same interest rate as anybody else. So don't worry yourself if you're in that range, because we do have people listening that have very good credit scores. They're listening because they want to help maintain them, and they want to help their friends and family out by listening to the 800 Credit Score Man show. We have people that are like that as well. So do not worry that you're not going to get the best interest rate out there just because this particular pie chart says something different. You'll still get that interest rate. Trust me and believe me, you're going to get that same interest rate, at least at this point, till somebody changes their mind on that. And I doubt it, because they've done very good as so far dealing with that. All right, so I wanted to do this. I wanted to show you guys, or give you guys an example, since we're on the air and you're not looking at me on TV. I wanted to give you guys an example of what your credit can do for you, and the difference between what you pay for a car if you have good credit and what you pay for a car if you have bad credit. So I know this show has been full of numbers and stuff like that, and a lot of people are not numbers people. So I know your eyes are crossing right now. This particular example is going to be very helpful to you. So if the cents on the numbers bug you, then forget about the cents and just listen to what the bottom line is on this particular example. So I'm gonna give you this example right here. Let's talk about a car loan. So you go in to buy a car. It's a $25,000 car. Let's say you buy a Chevy Malibu and it's $25,000, or a Cruise, or you buy a truck. Wherever you at, do what you do and you buy your car. So your car is $25,000. Let's look at the person that has good credit. So a person has, they've got a 747 credit score. Now, it's not at 750, where we talked about where typically you would be excellent, but it's at 747. Car places, or when you're dealing with a car, different institutions have different numbers. So you can be at, say, a 720 and be considered excellent for this particular institution. So if you're right there, and this person we're saying has a 747. All right, so this $25,000 car, you get an interest rate of 3.11%. So if you get an interest rate of 3.11%, which is the average right now, if you have a very good score, and you place your car on 60 months, that's 5 years. You place that on 60 months, and then you're going to have a payment of $450 a month. All right. With interest, you're going to pay $2,026 for this car at the end of your 5 years. Conversely, if you have a $25,000 car and you've got bad credit and they charge you 20%, same 5-year term, $662 payment per month on the same car, exact same car. So that's a difference of $212 a month. You pay more $212 more to be